What's up, kid? Hector Rico here today. Sadly, this video might be more or less like a sad one. Uh, got some sad news recently about one of my heroes dying, and with this video, I intended to pay homage to this man. Recently, I heard on the news, like the mainstream news, that Gonzalo Lira died. And they had spread that rumor before a few years back, and it wasn't true. But this time they actually had all this evidence that Gonzalo Lira died in prison. In a way, I'm not too surprised, but I don't mean that in a bad way. What happened was, I mean, you've seen him. This man is what you consider scary smart. He just is. He's scary smart. Um, and he knew too much. And he was stepping on toes. And he had to fight what he had to fight. He wasn't going to keep his mouth shut. And, I mean, he knew himself he wasn't going to get away with any of that. He couldn't have. He lived in the Ukraine at the time. He's been living in the Ukraine for a few years before the war broke out. Um, and they said that he died this slow, painful death. He had a lot of problems with his lungs. And that it just, like, it took a while. I always have a delayed reaction, because of my autism. But, now I see it that he's gone. And people have different opinions of him. It fluctuated. Either you really liked him or you really hated him. There was nothing in between. It was just either one or the other. And it's called me, dude. I looked up to him for a lot of reasons. Let's see if I can go back to the very beginning. A few years ago, before 2020, it was the red pill videos had already been around for about, it went viral like about 2015 or so. But one of the first guys I got in my algorithm was Gonzalo Lira, also known as Coach Red Pill. And it took me a while to really catch on to all the stuff he was talking about. And he looked entirely different years ago when he first started out. And my impression was that he was a Latino Jew, like me. He was Chilean. He's from Chile. And obviously, yeah, he had this ego on him. He had not necessarily a bad thing, but he had this ego because his upbringing. He was raised in private schools. He was that educated. And what's it called? He came to America in the early 90s. Not only did he come to America, but he went straight to an Ivy League school. He went to Dartmouth, you know. And the way he describes those times, those stories, he knew no matter what that Latinos are going to be treated like a second-class citizen in America. But he was not going to make any excuses. Nothing's going to stop him from finishing school, which he did. And I noticed I notice how his autism is, you know. It takes an autist to know an autist. And once he once he finishes something, I notice that he doesn't feel like doing it again. Like, okay, he went to an Ivy League school, he broke into the movie business, he was an author that wrote a book. He did a lot of things, but he only did it once, and that was it. And he had made so much money that he moved to the Ukraine. And depending what he felt like, sometimes he was in the Ukraine, sometimes he was in this other European country, but he would like bounce around and filming himself and stuff. And I admired him for that. That he was this educated Latino that didn't let anybody oppress him ever. And if you ever had that opportunity, because he took his channel down, right? But if you ever saw the man speak, like one of his red pill seminars, like these videos he makes, I mean, it was mind blowing. In particular, I always did a screenshot of the books he was referring to that he was talking about. I knew I just had to go back and read them all. It was amazing to me that he made like this 25-minute video talking about Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I know I mispronounce his last name. Sometimes I call him Solzhenitsyn. I can't pronounce his last name, but you know who I'm talking about. The man that wrote the Gulag Archipelago. And in that video, Gonzalo Lira was, I'd never seen him that relaxed. He had this demeanor to him where you could tell he's like he's this really dark Sigma male. But when he was talking about the Gulag Archipelago, he's like this relaxed, like wine connoisseur. And you knew he was going to be like just finally relaxed and just, it's a pretty amazing seminar. I don't know if you could still find that video floating around, but I was amazed by how cool that really was. This wealthy Latino who's freaking acting like a wine connoisseur in some schools, because like Spanish is different all over the world. But you know what's up, dude? They call that el patron, like the wealthy guy. That he's like the don. He's like he could just sit back and relax and coast and live on like a mansion. And I thought that was freaking neat. And I mean, he never steered you in the wrong direction. He just he was ruthless. He was really ruthless. When I was trucking, I had enough money to be subscribed to his Patreon. I didn't have the time for like his super chats, but I was subscribed to his Patreon to hear like his uncensored red pill rants. And yeah, man, he did not hold back. There was only a handful of times that I just never could agree with him. But looking back at it now that he's passed away, I could see that some of the stuff he said wasn't like it wasn't like an understatement. He was very complex, you know. And I was only disillusioned like a handful of times. Like I said, he had this weird story once. He made a video. He said that he purposely got his best friend's wife pregnant, and that after a while that the son that the wife had looked like him more than the biological dad. And it made me so mad that he didn't care about any of the people he hurt when he did that. That disgusted me. Um, he said he did it because he felt like, it's weird to describe, but he thinks like he's like higher up on social status because his education or whatever. That's horrible, man. Like, you don't do that to a human. You don't get your best friend's wife pregnant. Like, there's no excuse for any of that crap. I think he said it was an accident, but still, don't be doing something that stupid. And but he never really steered you in the wrong direction. Like I said, man, it's weird to be the only one that could really understand what I'm saying is if you're Latino, you know, dude, like there's not too many heroes to look up to. We have Latino athletes like in baseball and stuff, but I'm talking about somebody like Gonzalo Lira, like that, you know. And I took it just as bad as like when Kevin Samuels died. Kevin Samuels was like just like Gonzalo Lira. They're both the same thing. They were like this pharmaceutical warehouse of just red pills and knowledge, and now they're gone. I used to say when a comedian dies that the world is just less funny now. And when somebody that's just like a red pill content creator, especially like a really good one, when they died, the world lost a lot of masculine energy. And I can only hope that his legacy lives on. I hope his videos get put back up. He deleted his channel one day just randomly, and he said on Patreon that he did it because he just got tired of it. He's a perfectionist. He didn't like looking at the old videos, and he thought like they were outdated by today's standards. And what he did was also he said he was writing a book. This is like before the Ukrainian war stuff happened. And he said he was writing this book called Edging the Beta. And he kind of went into detail about what was going to be in it. It never got published or anything. It was just some project he had going on and keep himself busy. And it's weird losing one of your heroes. It's just the weirdest thing ever. Losing one of your heroes. And yeah, he left this big impact on me. I saw every one of his videos that I could. And I understand it now. Like he had a problem with like younger people calling him an internet dad because he didn't want to be an internet dad. What he really wanted was to elevate you. He wanted, like that old saying goes, man. I mean, how does the old saying go? That if you give a man a fish, you fed him for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, you fed him for a whole entire lifetime. And that's what he was trying to accomplish with his red pills. Like he wanted you to elevate yourself. And I mean, a lot of the stuff he said was really controversial, but it was true. I mean, everything he said was true. He didn't like, he never pandered. And he had a really sadistic sense of humor. He was even crazier on Patreon. He had a lot of crazy stuff to say on Patreon. You could have just imagined. And I always loved how cinematic his videos were because he was in Hollywood. He was like this kind of like a second unit director. So his content videos wound up looking like a movie. You've seen them. They look like a freaking movie. He had all these crazy close-ups, and he said it takes him like 8 or 9 hours of filming just to have created one video. I used to love reading his comment section, especially when women left a comment. That was just like special. Like it made me laugh a lot. And I think like once or twice he actually responded to my comment, and I was just like, "Whoa, my hero acknowledged me." My hero acknowledged me. That was awesome. Yep, I'll never forget that day. And I'm glad he talked about the stuff he did when I lost like my passion for reading. I'll just level with you, man. Like a few years ago, I lost my passion for reading, and the last time I read a book, like really got into it, was because of him. Because he was talking about the Gulag Archipelago, and when I was at this one bus station, this back and forth and this and that, I got into it. I was reading the Gulag Archipelago. I loved it. Um, I didn't finish it. It's like about a couple thousand pages long in 3 different volumes, but I understood full well like why he had to leave America and go live in the Ukraine. And there was only one Gonzalo Lira. No one's ever going to replace him. And now he's gone. And just it just feels so weird that he's gone. And I'm not going to lie, it actually felt bad to watch him, like his health diminishing. Something felt really off. Like he would just barely record himself with one angle on his phone, and you could tell his health was slipping. He was really paranoid. Um, Everyone thought he was just making stuff up as he went along, and I couldn't see him like that. I looked up to him too much to be watching him slip into madness like that, and he was smoking, and his hair was turning white, and it was weird to see him like not being in character. You know, why is he not in character? Why is he going off script? Why is he doing that? And then he died. I saw a few of his videos he made, like when the Ukrainian war thing broke out, and like I said, I didn't want to see him weak. I couldn't imagine him weak, and then he was behaving a certain way, and it just didn't seem natural. And the way he carried himself was he never lost sight of how Latino he was. He never did. And I'm glad that he acted the way he did. And that's about it, man. I can't. It actually pains me to say all these things because it just does, man. I mean, my hero died. Coach Red Pill, Gonzalo Lira. He might not be your cup of tea, but I looked up to him. And that's just me. So just, I mean, if anybody died, just have some common courtesy, man. Just because you don't like him, don't mean somebody else don't like him. And just let it be, man. Just respect people that passed away.